Good morning and welcome to the Oasis Center for Spiritual Living, where we come together as one, providing spiritual tools for daily living. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Reverend Tucker. I'm the senior minister here at the Oasis. And I have this wonderful team that God has provided me, although one of my team members is doing a matinee in Tampa, so he won't be here. That's Oz. So let me introduce the one that's here. This is my faithful assistant, Faith, who's been my assistant since the day she was born. Her dad would work the soundboard, and he'd have her in one hand and working the soundboard with the other hand. And she was about 3 weeks old, I think, the first time she came to church. And then when she was able to crawl, she just crawled right up on stage, and I just left her there because I could step over her while I was speaking. I used to move around a lot when I spoke. Now I'm sitting in a chair. I can't really move around very much, but... And then we would put her on the podium to do announcements with me. And I think everybody paid more attention to you than they did me, actually. But they listened. That's all I cared about. Or their attention was focused on the pulpit. Let's put it that way. Her dad was a tow truck driver. And so he would go on these out-of-town tows, and he'd drop the girls at my house. And I have a house where there's always a project. Always. I don't think I've ever had a day without a project of some sort. And so Faith and Hannah would work on the projects. And so I got to see her work. And when she was 14 and a half and said, I want a real job, I don't want to babysit anymore, I want a real job, I went, yeah, let's do this. And so I hired her for my ozone business. And then when we went live during the pandemic, I said, I need a ministerial assistant. Are you in? She's like, yeah. So we've been doing this for 4 years now. But she knows me better than I know myself most of the time. And so in a facility, when I look out, I can see these faces shining back at me. And here I get a number. I don't even get names or anything. So we ask that you say hi, hello, good morning, however you want to greet us. And Faith is the one that answers you as me. But, and I go back later to make sure that she's covered everything that she needs to if there's a question. It's only happened like twice in 4 years that I've had to add something. Like I said, she knows me better than I know myself. So she's the woman behind the scenes. All I have to do is talk and point to a couple things. Other than that, she does it all. And as in terms of doing it all, she's also our soloist. And so today she's going to be doing...
It's in Every One of Us by John Denver.
Yeah, thank you. I'm going to be talking about staying present. That's going to be challenging. Anyway, our topic today is star in your own show. So anyway, this is my team member today is Faith. The two of us are going to handle the whole thing. So I'll be doing the invocation and benediction, and I guess I'm available at the end for the 1 minute miracle, since Oz is not here. And we didn't know ahead of time, so we couldn't book someone else to fill. But anyway, so thank you for being here, Faith. I love you. I couldn't do this without her, literally. I mean, she does all of it. She is the one that reaches out to Oz every Sunday morning to get him online. And, she just takes care of all the little details. So I really couldn't do this without her. We also have an adjunct music team that I always like to mention because we couldn't do music on Sundays without them. One is Reverend Fairy Elaine Silver. She doesn't appear on screen, but we use her music a lot in our services. And the other one is Karen Drucker, who has donated her entire collection to us, which at the time, 4 years ago, was 20 CDs worth of music. And she's given us karaoke files and everything else. So it was very nice of her to do that. And it makes it possible for us to do music here. Because anytime we try to do contemporary music, either Facebook mutes us or YouTube mutes us later. So we have permission from these two ladies to do their music, and so we're able to provide you with an entire Sunday service, like we would if we were in a facility, which I really love. Otherwise, you would listen to me for an hour. I don't think you want to do that. I mean, I can fill an hour, trust me. Most of the time I go over a little bit because I speak and go on and on and on and on. Ooh, that's a song we should do one of these times. The minister just went on and on. I can't remember how that song goes exactly. But anyway, and then we have Tina Giuffre, Albertina Giuffre, who was our soloist for many years when we had a facility and started out with us here, and then needed to take a break. And so she's been on break for a while, but we call her back for special events. Like I need to ask her. I keep forgetting. I need to ask her if she's willing to do Mother's Day with us. Next week is Passover, and we're going to be doing a metaphysical Passover. She won't be here for that. It just popped into my mind. I thought I better let you know. So if you have any interest in understanding what Passover is about and what it metaphysically means, join us next week. All right. So there's a watch party button if you would like to invite your friends and let them see what kind of service they can experience on a Sunday morning. And of course, you can chat back and forth with them to answer their questions because it is private. So hit that watch party button and invite all of your friends to come and join us today. All right. Close your eyes if that feels comfortable. Allow the service to uplift and inspire you as we move into our centering song.
Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can feel the rush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can feel the rush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place.
Surely the presence of God is in this place, as it is in all places, all times, all people, all things. We are connected by it, through it, as it. I celebrate this immense power that lives itself through us, knowing that that is what powers all of us. Knowing that that is what powers our life and our dreams and our goals and the life that we create. So I bless this service with an awareness of that power and that presence as it moves through this service and our lives. I give thanks for this. I let it be, and so it is. Amen. All right, this next song is one that Reverend Fairy Elaine Silver created when she was in practitioner training. It's called We Are All One, and it's a great reminder that we are connected by all of it.
We are all one. We are all one. We are all one in it. I hear it and know my being. Spirit is all I am seeing, for God is all there is. Grateful am I to be living, open to what I have seen, honoring what I've been given, sharing now surrounding me is within me by day and night. And we are all one. We are all one. We are all one in it. Yes, we are all one. We are all one. We are all one in it.
Yes, we are all one in it. If you're just tuning in, remember to say hi, hello, good morning, however you'd like to greet us. When we're in a facility, I can look out and see the shining faces beaming back at me. Here I get a number. I don't even get names. So whether you're here in real time or you're stopping by later, please say hi, hello, good morning, however you want to greet us. Just drop us a line, let us know you were here. And if you like something that you hear, either that's in a prayer or something I say in my talk or something that Faith sings, by all means, use that like button. And if you love something, send us hearts because we love to get love. I see that Cindy already sent us a heart. I love that. And if something that I say strikes you as very powerful, use that wow button. It lets me know that we're on track. And so it's really good feedback. We really need to have that feedback. So definitely. Without further ado, here is Faith. Sing It's in Every One of Us by John Denver. Good God, I don't know why I can't remember that this morning.
Thank you.
It's in every one of us to be wise. Find your heart, open up both your eyes. We can all know everything without ever knowing why. It's in every one of us, by and by. It's in every one of us. I just remember, it's like I've been sleeping for years. I'm not aware as I can be, but my seeing is better. I can see through the tears. I've been realizing that I bought this ticket and watching only half of the show. But there's scenery, lights, and a cast of thousands. Oh, I all know that I know. And it's good that it's so. It's in every one of us to be wise. Find your heart, open up both your eyes. We can all know everything without ever knowing why. It's in every
And by.
Sorry about that.
Thanks. I know it has a nice little pause before that very last part.
I know. I always remember that after I start the clapping. Oh, thank you so much, Faith. I really love that song. Although I like to change the words from by and by to it's in every one of us, without even knowing how. It's in every one of us here and now. But, you know, I changed Ernest Holmes' words too, Dr. Ernest Holmes' words too. I have a friend, John Pons, who had the church in Fort Collins. And my goodness, he worked so hard with his choir and his soloist that he always made up different words to all the songs and they'd have to learn them. And he'd schedule things like 2 months out. And, you know, he liked to have control. I'll talk about that in a minute too. But have you ever had the experience of realizing that you're only half participating in life? You bought the ticket and you're only watching half the show. And we live that way, most of us in our lives. It's like we go to the movie and we go to the bathroom at all the good parts. Then we fall asleep before the climax. And then we're having a conversation later with somebody. And they're like, I love that part in the movie where blah, blah, blah. And you're like, I don't remember that part. But it's because we have such low self-esteem that we think that we don't deserve to have the kind of life we want. I think that, you know, self-esteem is the root of all evil. It's not money. It's low self-esteem. It's how we feel about money. It's how we feel about love. It's how we feel about our bodies, how we feel about life itself. That's the difference, you know. I still work with clients, and no matter what we're working on, it always comes down to self-esteem. Because if we don't believe that we can have or that we deserve to have what we want, it doesn't matter what area of our life we're working on. It all boils down to that. There's this book called The 6 Pillars of Self-Esteem written by Nathaniel Branden. And he's one of the pillars of the psychological community as a resource. And so I always like reading his stuff. He says self-esteem is the confidence in our ability to think, confidence in our ability to deal with the basic challenges of life, and confidence in our right to be successful and happy. The feeling of being worthy, deserving, entitled to assert our needs and wants, to achieve our values, and enjoy the fruits of our efforts. Now, we're familiar with the second part of that, but not the first. Confidence in our ability or trusting in our own decisions is not part of the definition that we're familiar with of self-esteem. But what's really true is that a person with good self-esteem does trust their intuition. They do trust their decision-making process because they are in touch with what's within them, and that is God itself. God lives within us. And I talked a couple weeks ago when I was talking about following the strands of the certain circumstances where I didn't follow my intuition because I didn't trust it. And we all have moments like that where we think about something and we go, oh, it's just, you know, me making up stuff or whatever. I'll do it briefly because I see that somebody else has joined us and I don't know who it is. I don't know if they heard this or not. So one of the instances was when I was working in Writers Manor, the office building there. And I got up that morning and put on a business suit and nylons because back in the 80s, that's what we did. Got my hair all done, did all my makeup, you know, whatever. And it was in August, and I went to work, and then I had to leave to go do a mailing at the post office, one of those pre-sort, you know, where you get discounts. And I get all, and as I'm walking out the door, I was working out all the time. And as I was walking out the door, I said, gee, I should grab my running shoes. And then I thought, I'm not going to work out tonight. I have way too busy of a day. And so I didn't take them. And I go to the post office and I leave the post office and it's like 103 degrees. And my car breaks down in between 225 and Hampton. For those of you who are familiar with Denver, you know there's a wide span of area there where there's nothing. And it breaks down. I'm in 5-inch heels, in my business suit, in my nylons, in 100 and I think it was 103 degrees, if I remember right, or 105. I can't remember exactly. But had I taken my running shoes, I still would have been hot, but I wouldn't have the blisters and the inability to walk for several days. I couldn't even work out because I couldn't walk because of those 5-inch heels with the nylons. And, I was not comfortable hitching a ride. So I took off my jacket and I walked, and it's like a couple miles in the heat of the summer. Another one was I was installing a Novell network system at a law office. That was my job. And I had 20 users that I needed to install. And back in those days, there wasn't a save and continue. There was only a save and exit. And it was quite a process to get back in. And I thought, I had one more user left, and I thought, geez, I should just probably go ahead and save and exit. And I thought, I just have one more user. I'm going to go ahead and just keep going. And 10 minutes later, the furnace in the building blew out. And blew up, actually, and caused no utilities, no electricity. And so I lost like 7 hours of work. And you can't bill the client for 7 hours of work that you didn't complete. So I not only lost all of my work, but I lost the income from that work and had to redo it all. And that was all about listening to intuition, right? But I didn't trust my intuition back then. I would always think, I'm just being silly, whatever that was, And so one of the things about low self-esteem is that we don't trust our intuition. We don't trust our decision-making process because we think we're making it up in our heads. What's really true is that God lives within us, and the voice that is telling us this stuff as an intuition is God in us saying, this is what you need to do. And it kind of takes care of us if we'll let it. So whether you feel like you have the right to listen to that intuition or not, you want to remember that it's God's voice speaking to you, and you don't want to say no to God, right? And so listen to that intuition. Let it be the thing that propels you forward. Nathaniel Branden continues, and he says, nothing is more common than to pursue self-esteem by means that will not and cannot work. Instead of seeking self-esteem through consciousness, responsibility, and integrity, we seek it through popularity, material acquisitions, or sexual exploits. Instead of valuing personal integrity, we value belonging to the right clubs or the right church or the right political party. And instead of practicing appropriate self-assertion, we may practice uncritical compliance to one particular group. Does this sound familiar from all the protests that happened and all the people that want to start a civil war and all of that? They're practicing uncritical compliance to a group. Now, I'm not on one side or the other. I feel like, free speech is free speech. What I don't agree with is the violence. And when we are practicing uncritical compliance to a credo that a particular group lives by, and we're forcing the issue with our uncritical compliance to that credo, it not only hurts us, but it hurts society. It hurts all of us, right? He continues and he says, instead of seeking self-esteem through honesty, we may seek it through philanthropy. I must be a good person. I do good works. Instead of striving for the power of confidence, the ability to achieve genuine values, we may pursue the power of manipulating or controlling other people. The possibilities for self-deception are almost endless. All the blind alleys down which we can lose ourselves, not realizing that what we desire cannot be purchased with counterfeit currency. Now, that I want to say something about, because Dr. Ernest Holmes used to say that good works without a foundation is not good. You see, it's not good works. It comes from a place of wanting to elevate ourselves, that we do the good work so we can feel better. That's not selfless. And if it's not selfless, it's not good works, right? He can argue the way through that all you want. But the thing is that if we're doing good works, but we're not coming from a place of doing the good works just for the sake of doing them, then we are not being selfless. So he continues on and he says, self-esteem is an intimate experience. It resides in the core of one's being. It's what I think or feel about myself, not what anyone else feels or thinks about me. This simple fact can hardly be overemphasized. I can be loved by my family, by my mate, and my friends, and yet not love myself. I can be admired by my associates, but then regard myself as worthless. I can project an image of assurance and poise that fools almost everyone, and yet secretly tremble with a sense of my own inadequacy. I can fulfill the expectations of others. I can win every honor, yet I feel like I've accomplished nothing. I can be adored by millions, and yet wake up each morning with a sickening sense of fraudulence and emptiness. I don't know how many of you remember when Princess Diana died. All this stuff came out about her not feeling loved. Now, millions, I mean, literally millions of people tuned in to not only her funeral, but her wedding. And everyone cried when she died. Everyone felt that sense of loss. And yet in her own life, she never felt loved. And if Princess Diana, with all the accolades that were afforded her, doesn't feel loved, you know, imagine the rest of us who don't get those accolades on a daily basis, who don't have paparazzi following us everywhere because everybody wants to know who we are and what we're doing, right? And so we need to remember that love is not coming from the outside. It's not coming from other people. When we count on other people to provide that love to us, then we always get let down. And it doesn't matter, like, if they're just unable to give it to us, or there's just not that connection there, or they pass away. That love gets removed, and then we feel inadequate, right? We feel not loved. So instead, we want to focus our attention on the love that we receive from God inside of us, right? God is always, it flows through us and it resides inside of us. So the focus needs to be on that instead of other people. Other people will let you down. Other people will pass away. God never leaves us. God never disappoints us. God never passes away, right? And so our focus needs to be on that. And when we're focused on the love of God, the right person will come into our lives to mirror back to us that love. He continues, to attain success without attaining positive self-esteem is to be condemned to feeling like an imposter, anxiously awaiting exposure. Now, I have to share with you that I had very low self-esteem when I first started in ministry. And I spent most of my time just trying to appear okay, right? I would read my sermons. I never even hardly looked up from my notes to even look at the audience, let alone, you know, try to connect with them. I just sit there and I'd read the sermon like this. I don't even know if I was had expressions during that. I don't know if I got excited. I don't remember any of that. All I remember is I felt like if I didn't read the sermon, it wouldn't be good. And so what I've learned now is that when I read the sermon, there is no heart in it. That when I'm speaking to you as I am right now I have notes, obviously, to keep me on track. But when I speak to you from the heart now, it connects with people and it connects with their heart. And the material goes deeper into them than it would if I just sat and read all of this. So if any of that sounds familiar, any of it all, then self-esteem is a core issue that we're dealing with. And nothing in your life can change until this changes, until you deal with this issue. See, I think this is the major cause of us falling asleep and only watching half the show, because we don't feel like we have a right to participate. It's like, okay, this is something I can't have, so I'm going to go unconscious for a while and it won't be part of my reality. But it's what keeps us from the big R reality beyond the little r reality, the one we have our conditions in our experience. Behind, everything is that spiritual reality. And you'll notice that I refer to that as the big R reality. Because that is our spiritual reality. See, we are human doings having a spiritual experience. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. Let's put it that way. And so behind everything is that big R reality. And so we go along thinking, we experience poverty and we say, that's my reality. Or we have ill health and we say, that's my reality. Or we have a bad relationship and we say, that's my reality. The truth is, there is a greater reality beyond that. There is something behind that is greater than any of those experiences. Behind poverty, there's the experience of prosperity. That isn't the total experience. That's just one condition that can be overcome. There's the prototype of health underneath the idea of ill health. Ill health is not the total experience. Behind every relationship that's gone south, there is the love of God, because that's the truth of our being. We are avenues through which God can express its love. So when we overcome the reality of this world because we stop judging it and we start looking towards the big R reality, the reality of God, we begin to experience more of that and experience less of the self-esteem kind of stuff that comes up. Now, it doesn't matter whether you're talking about health or prosperity or love. That's the truth about it. There's always that little R reality that we seem to believe is our ultimate reality. And I say it that way because I say that, we are not confined to poverty. We're not confined to that experience. We're only confined by it because we believe in it, because we think that is our reality. And when we can expand our perception of life to a greater reality, that one of God, of prosperity, then we begin to experience that in our life instead of having more feedback about the belief that we have in the poverty. Does that make any sense? Like, I always talk about the blueprint. There's a divine blueprint in all of us. And it does, and that's not just health, right? The DNA really has an encoding within us for prosperity, health, love, all of those things. And love and hate cannot exist in the same person. And so one or the other has to give way. So if we're carrying around hate, then we can't experience love. And so it's very important for us to focus our attention on the big R reality instead of that little R reality. Hang on. My cursor jumped. I got to see where I'm at here. I could probably do this without the notes, but I don't want to leave out anything. I love the 12-step prayer because that prayer really is cool. It's like there's no right or wrong. There's only what is. We judge things as right or wrong, and the judgment itself keeps us from experiencing more good in our life because we want to judge something as bad, and we're experiencing it, and so we get caught in that feedback loop. But the truth is that life just is. So the 12-step prayer is, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Because, we always want to change the things we cannot change. Like COVID is a perfect example. How many of us would like to go back and make sure and make COVID not a reality, right? We would love to do that. But it cannot be changed. The only thing that we can change is our feeling in regards to it, in relation to it. Another thing is you can't go back and change the past. The past happened. It did. We don't want to judge it as right or wrong, bad or good. We just want to accept that this is the past, and I can change my feelings about what happened. I can't change what happened. It's impossible to go back and do that. But if I change my feelings about what happened, then I have the ability to move past it. And so when I say, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change, I realize that I just have to be in acceptance that it happened. And when I say, grant me the courage to change the things I can, those are usually the things we don't want to change, right? We have such resistance to changing our feelings, right? As if holding on to that reality or holding on to that perception is the glue that keeps us together. We resist changing our feelings about it and saying, okay, it happened, and I can sit and be in gloom about it, or I can move past this. And God grant me the wisdom to know the difference is really important, because we need to know what can be changed and what can't be changed. And the things we can change, we think, oh, I don't want to change that. I'd rather change this over here that can't be changed, right? So we really need to watch ourselves with that. Taking responsibility is not blaming ourselves for what happened. Blame is one of those, oh God, this happened to me and I can't change, right? Responsibility is like, okay, it happened. I created something I don't like. I have the power to create something else. And that's where we want to move to. So, okay, here's where I blew it. Here's what I need to do to fix it. Now I'm going to do that. That's why I love the Serenity Prayer, because it really is about being present in the moment and understanding the greater R reality is the truth about ourselves. And I can create the life I want. I'm not changing the circumstances. I'm not changing another person. I'm not changing anything out in my outer world. What I'm changing is what's within me. And when I change that, when I change the thoughts or beliefs that have created the reality I'm experiencing, I'm now free to experience what I want to have. I'm not saying, we don't deny that hatred exists. We don't deny that poverty exists. We don't deny that illness doesn't exist. We don't say that in religious science. We're not in denial. These things exist. What we deny is that they have any power over us. The minute we give power to poverty, we no longer have an avenue through which God can deliver prosperity to us. The minute we give power over to our ill health, we no longer have an avenue to get back to that healthy place. The minute we give over our power to hatred, then love can't come through us, because love and hate can't exist in the same body. I always say, if we build a wall so that we don't get hurt, we don't let the bad stuff in, we've built a wall that nothing can get in. And so love can't penetrate that wall to get in to create a better life for us. So we don't want to build walls. We want to leave ourselves open to the experience of love, knowing full well that the power lies in God's ability to deliver that love to us, right? And to recognize that the pain that we feel over someone's loss, whether that be a relationship that doesn't work out or a person passing on, is something that helps us grow, right? I grow from everything. I try, at least. Not that I haven't had my moments of not being present. I will tell you, Faith and I have been driving places and not remembering how we got there, that kind of thing. So I'm not staying present every moment of every day of every experience, because I experienced the loss of my husband, and a year prior, the loss of my sister. And so our brains have a way of protecting us from the pain. For instance, some people will drink alcohol to stop feeling the pain, and other people will do drugs to avoid the pain. I happen to hop out of my body really well. That's a thing that I learned when I was a kid, and I've spent most of my adulthood trying to learn to stay in my body, because when things get painful, I want to jump right out of my body and not even be present. So I struggle with that. And I tell you this because I know that we all have our struggles with this. We have to stay present in the moment if we want to experience our life. I had this friend of mine that used to go get really drunk on his birthday every year. And I would say to him, so what do you remember about your birthday? Not much. And it's like, well, don't you want to remember your birthday? And, to me, it's that. It'd be really easy for me to go get drunk or, any of those things, or hop out of my body. But then I don't experience the goodness, the fullness, the joy, the juiciness of life if I'm so willing to just leave in whatever way that takes. So the minute that we recognize that that we are reclaiming our power, saying in this moment, I'm willing to be powerful. I'm willing to see that greater reality beyond this circumstance. I'm willing to accept that as my reality. The moment we do that, we leave ourselves open to a much better life. And if we stay present in that moment, we can experience the full juiciness. I love that word, juicy. I had an instructor in the School of Ministry that was a charismatic preacher. And he used to teach us through Sufi dancing and music. And he used to say, "Oh, it's so juicy in this room right now." And at first I was like, what the hell is he talking about? Helza, it's a Bible word. And so I finally got it. And there was this one practitioner. I just adored her. I'm trying to remember her name now. She would sit in the corner and she would just laugh, joyously laugh at everything. And I kind of thought she was a little strange too, but the more I experienced all of that, the more I got the juiciness of it. The more I got the experience of dancing and allowing that spirit to move through me is a juicy experience. And it is being so in love with God that the spirit fills you and your movement becomes an expression of that spirit moving through you. And so that's what I want for us. I want for us to experience life at its juiciest. And that means focusing on the greater our reality, God. I have been listening to this lady, Esther Hicks, for years, who channels this non-physical entity named Abraham. You might have heard of Abraham Hicks. That's what I'm talking about. And I listened to his books on tape. Or her books on tape. But a friend of mine loaned me her entire library of Abraham Hicks. And I listened to each one of them over and over and over again before I returned them to her. And the one that struck me as the most powerful was the idea of the vibrational vortex. What Abraham Hicks says is that the universe is behind the scenes providing for us everything we could ever want, need, or desire, because our DNA is actually infused with that possibility. And the moment that we say, I want this, and we have any passion towards that, the universe starts working behind the scenes because we've sent out a rocket of desire, and it starts to work on that. But the only place that we can actually retrieve that is by being in this vibrational vortex. You know, in the eye of a hurricane, how there's one little spot where everything's swirling around you, but you don't feel the wind. You don't feel any of the pressure. You just feel calm. And it's very peaceful in the eye of the hurricane. That's what the vibrational vortex is. But we don't have to have a hurricane to be able to experience that. Because in our spiritual realm, we can go to that place anytime. And that is the place where we retrieve everything that has been created for us. And the idea is that you sit in the vibrational vortex and you don't allow anything from the outside to trick us into getting out of the vortex. Because, all of life calls to us, and all the drama calls to us to remove ourselves from the vibrational vortex and live in poverty or live in hatred or live in a place that's just not meant for us to dwell. The vibrational vortex is where the greater our reality provides access to everything we ever wanted, needed, or desired. And so I invite us this week to recognize that all of the time that has been spent in the vibrational vortex is the time we have where we can tap into and receive all of the gifts that have been given to us by the universe. Is His word. God is my word. God flows through us. It's inside of us. It is what we think, feel, and believe with. And so the experiences that we have, if they're generated by that power of God that flows through us, they're going to be the best ones. I had this friend, Reverend Paula Riddle, who has since passed on, but she had this company called One Song Productions because she said, this is the universe, one voice. And she used to say that One Life Productions was her life force. I thought that was so cool. She had a whole different way of looking at God. For instance, we would leave at the exact same time to get to a location. And she didn't speed or anything, but she always got there ahead of me. And it was so interesting because her version of God was, I will get there exactly when I need to be there. And she just trusted that. And she did. She got there a lot earlier than me. Like we're talking 10, 15 minutes earlier. And so I always think about that when I think about traveling somewhere, that I need to tune into God and say, this is my God time. And I will get there in God time. But why do we feel out of step with our life? Because we're not listening to our own inner song. So she says there are 5 parts to our own inner song. The first one is listen for our songs, spending time in meditation and prayer. That's the key to that. Because if we listen to the vibration within us that says, this is the life in me, it is greater than anything in this little R reality. It's greater than any of my friends or my coworkers. Anything more than that is God. And if we spend time cultivating a relationship with that, we spend time listening for it, we begin to act in accordance with that which is within us instead of acting in accordance with what the world wants of us. Remember when I was talking about following the strands? That's the whole idea behind it. What your true mind wants is to do what is good for you, not what society wants from you. The second one is I've got rhythm, but it is my own. Most of the stress in life is trying to match a different rhythm, be a different rhythm than we actually are. There are those who go at a turtle's pace. The world keeps telling them, no, you need to speed up. This is what it means to be successful. You've got to go at this pace. And that stress causes them to have heart attacks and strokes and other health issues because they're living outside their own rhythm. And if you ask a person who, Reverend Lynn was one of those people. He had 3 modes: slow, slower, and slowest. And if you try to hurry him up or speed him up at all, it would cause him such immense stress. And so I learned to just live with it. And if you ask a person who goes 100 miles an hour to slow down and go at that turtle's pace, you're going to cause the same reaction. You see, now I'm not saying that, if you're a 100-mile-an-hour person that you shouldn't take time to meditate. What I'm saying is your life force is geared toward that pace, that rhythm, and you need to honor that in your everyday experience. You can't slow down to the rest of the world, nor can you speed up to the rest of the world either. We had this friend, Bill Francoeur, who was a type A personality. And telling that man to take a 2 or 3 hour rest was like trying to kill him. Literally. So we have, Reverend Lynn on this side and we had Bill Francoeur on this side. And the 2 of them together were really pretty funny because neither one of them could connect. But you need to honor in your everyday experience what your rhythm is about. The third one is name that tune. Now, some people are like a light little tune, repetitive and easy, like row, row, row your boat. And other people have a very complex melody. Like the Requiem, for instance, they happened inside of Mozart before it ever got onto paper. That's a very convoluted piece of music, but that is so him. We all have our own tune. When Mozart heard that Requiem in his mind, or the Marriage of Figaro, he knew that it was his inner voice. So we need to find our own inner voice because all is spirit. We can't live our melody fully and beautifully unless we're willing to take time to listen to the song that's within us and give it everything we've got. And as we listen to our melody, we begin to appreciate our own song. We give ourselves permission. The fourth is harmony. Now, living in harmony with the rest of the world, with life itself, is something that I learned from Kari. Kari had this belief in this Nordic mythology about a tapestry of life, that we are all strands, we are all threads in that tapestry of life. Some people were hunters that protected the weave, and some were weavers who wove the weave. And the rest of us were like just threads that were being woven into this tapestry. And if you folded it back on top of itself, we would still be connected because we would be touching the tapestry. And I think that's what we need to remember, is that we are connected to all of life by and through God. And as we experience that connection, we begin to notice that there's nothing that I can do that won't reflect back to me. Like karma is a very misunderstood thing. For instance, we think karma is if that person hurts me and I hurt them back, that's their karma. That's not exactly karma. What karma is that if I put out there in the world some form of hurt towards anyone, that is going to come back to me. It won't maybe be that person, but in some way, shape, or form, that hurt will come back to me. And so when we live in harmony, we create good karma. We create experiences that are beneficial to the whole, as well as being beneficial to ourselves. And the fifth one is words. We want to be careful of the words that we're using. We don't want to say I'm sick and tired, or I'm sick, or I'm tired. Those are all based on indecision, doubt, and fear. And what we want to do is use words of power. I can create a new circumstance. I am now living the reality I want to live. You can even use my mantra about giving up control, because it controls an illusion. And I have spent the last probably 20 years giving up control and being, I'm not in control. When Reverend Lynn was sick, I wasn't in control of that situation. Many people have said to me, I don't know how you just said okay when he said he wanted to go. And it's like, why would I keep him here? I wouldn't want him to suffer. And so when I look at that kind of stuff, I realize that I was using a mantra of control is an illusion. I release all need to control anything. And so we need to be careful about the words that we use. And you can use my mantra if you want. You can use your own mantra if you want. But this week, think about how it is you want to live your life. Listen to the heartbeat of your soul. Listen to the words you use. So this week, please with me, let's focus on God as that primary focus of our life. And remember to listen to our own song. We've got rhythm. We got music. We got our God. Who could ask for anything more? Let's have a prayer. In my reality.
You're muted.
I'm muted?
You were muted.
Let's try that again. I now tune my awareness to the infinite power and the infinite presence of God, where I understand beyond my human awareness that God is more powerful, more amazing, more beautiful, more life-giving, more absolute than my human consciousness can comprehend. And as I contemplate that, I understand that that is what flows through me, that is who and what I am, my very essence, my very life, my very being. And that I am led and guided by the ancient wisdom of the ages that flows through all of us. For that is what I am. I know that same truth to be so for my team, for God's team that I get to manage, for Oz and for Tina and for Elaine and for Karen and for Faith. For we are guided and led by the same ancient wisdom of the ages that flows through all of life. And as we follow that wisdom, we experience the power of God. I know that same truth to be so for everyone watching, whether that's in real time or later on. For there is no place where one leaves off and the other begins. And so we are connected by it, through it, as it. And that same ancient wisdom of the ages is what leads us and guides us to that perfect big R reality. We are all one. Mitaku Asin, all my brethren, we are connected. So I bless this coming week with a knowledge and awareness of where we have created out of fear and indecision and doubt, and how powerful we are to create something else as our focus remains on God and listening to our own inner voice, which is God speaking to us. We sing our own song. And as these experiences reveal themselves and veil themselves, we begin to experience that greater reality that gives us prosperity, peace, hope, love, health, well-being. I know that same truth to be so for every name that's in the ministry of prayer today. because I do know that power for good in the universe is what flows through everything. So whatever condition they are experiencing, God is the answer. And I pull back the veil to reveal that truth here and now as I claim it in their name as good and very good. Let my heart fill with the gratitude and love to know that this is so, to be of service in this world, as I just let it be. And so it is. Wow, I don't have a lot of time to do announcements, so we're going to blast through them really quickly. All right. Let's see. Let's let Faith sing first. God.
You are the heart, you are the hands, you are the voice of spirit on earth, and who you are, and all you do is a blessing to the world. You are the heart, you are the hands, you are the voice of spirit on earth, and who you are, and all you do is a blessing to the world.
Thank you, Faith. All right, this is our opportunity to receive your gifts, tithes, and offerings, and your opportunity to share from that experience of prosperity, to give thanks for that which you have received in the physical realm, or perhaps you have created in the mind of God and may not yet have experienced in the physical realm. And so in a moment, I'm going to ask you to go to www.oasiscsl.org, and about 2/3 down the page, say the offering affirmation with me. And directly under that is Contribute Now button. And so let me talk about contribution real quickly. You're not contributing to a facility rent or utilities or any of those kinds of things. What you are contributing to is our mission, and that leads us to our vision. Now, our vision is a healed world globally. We already have people tuning in from Germany, Holland, India, the Philippines, let's see, Germany, Holland, the UK, England, whatever. But we'd like to reach the entire world. So that is a healed world is our vision. And our mission to get there is by healing the planet one person at a time. And so when you are contributing, that's what you're contributing to. So right now, whether you're watching this in real time or later on, please go with me now to www.oasiscsl.org and say this offering affirmation with me. This perfect gift is spirit in form, circulating and blessing all it touches. Freely I give and joyously I receive. And so it is. Hit that Contribute Now button and help us with our mission to get to our vision. All right. We have this wonderful team of licensed practitioners from coast to coast who serve our church as the healing arm of the church. We call them the God Squad. I like the imagery of that, marching in and taking care of business. But anyway, the first way that they serve our church is by praying every day for a week on prayer requests. So if you have a prayer request, please put it in the comments, and our practitioners will pray on that every day for a week. If you don't want it to be public, you can DM Faith, and she will make sure that our God Squad gets that request. The second way that they serve our church is through spiritual guidance. They are available for spiritual guidance by appointment for a fee. And so you want to get on Facebook and contact one of them by messenger and let them know that you would like an appointment for spiritual guidance. They will tell you how to pay for it. We don't get involved in that. They use whatever, Wise, Cash App, Venmo, Zelle, PayPal. They have their own business, so we don't get involved in that. But they will let you know how to pay for it. And once it's paid for, they will reach out to you at the appointed time by video chat. The third way they serve our church is by being practitioner of the day, which is doing the invocation benediction and being available for a 1-minute miracle at the end. That's not a time for counseling, but it is a time where you can share with them what you were experiencing, and they will stop, drop, and pray with you right then and there. So take advantage of the service of these wonderful, beautiful people who serve our ministry of prayer. All right. Brooks and Bailey have these wonderful mala bead necklaces and bracelets, as well as other jewelry, other necklaces and stuff. They are, you can reach them through Brooks and Bailey 0307 at Gmail, or on their Facebook page that they now have. All the proceeds go to Rocky Mountain Lab Rescue, which I think is a very worthy cause. You will note that I always have these amethyst ones here. They're $60, but they have other gemstones that are $30 and up, and I think their bracelets are either 15 or 20. I can't remember. But the mala beads have, the necklaces have 108 beads on them, so it's really easy to do your affirmation moving one bead at a time. The bracelets have 54 beads, so you just go through it twice. But I suggest that you do affirmations 100 times a day, so it's a great way to work through that. We also have an Etsy store from Angel Renee, who has these intention candles that help you focus on your intention, as well as tea bags for your bath. She uses these aromatic herbs that keep you focused on your intention. So check out her store for sure. We like to support those who support us. So the next one is Reverend Fairy Lane Silver. Her website can't be updated to show a way to pay, and she travels around the country singing, but she carries her CDs in her trunk. So get on the website, see what you want, and then email her and let her know, and she'll tell you how to pay for it. And she's really good about sending those out right away. The other one is Karen Drucker, who has all kinds of music on her website. Her website does work. You can pay for it right then and there, whether you're buying one song or a couple of different songs, or you're buying a whole CD. She also has karaoke files in case you want to do karaoke. You know, like I said, her website does work, so you can buy it that way. She even has songbooks. In the songbooks, some of them have American Sign Language if you wanted to learn American Sign Language for that. We love to support these ladies because they really make our services possible. So definitely check them out. Get some music. They have really wonderful stuff. Check out our website. It is back up and running. We still haven't updated it, but oasiscsl.org. For some reason, I don't know, GoDaddy shut us down, and all I had to do was republish it, and it's back up. So definitely check us out. You'll find pictures of picnics and all kinds of parties that we had at the church, so you get to know your spiritual community. We are working on making sure that we are current on the video sermons that I've done over the last 4 years. We haven't been able to do that because of Lynn's passing. And there's audio sermons from years prior that are already on there. But in case that you don't see what you want, you can go to YouTube or SoundCloud and look up S. Tucker. YouTube has the video, SoundCloud has the audio files. So definitely check all of that out. All right. So I'm just knowing that this gathering that we had together here, this service, as we call it, is so blessed. Has been so blessed. It uplifted and inspired all who were in attendance here. And so I bless the coming week. I know it's good. I give thanks for it, and I just let it be. And so it is. Amen. Join us next week and every week at 10:30 a.m. Like I said, next week we're going to do a metaphysical Passover. And so if you have any interest in understanding what Passover is and what happened with that, and the underlying spiritual metaphysical interpretation, that's what I'm going to deliver next week. So definitely join us here, 10:30 a.m. Mountain Time next week and every week. In the meantime, stay safe. We love you. Bye.